The new build process. How's it work in Wichita, Kansas? Find out the answer on this short little video. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a local realtor here in Wichita. If you like this content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to see more awesomeness. But let's go ahead and just get right into it. I'll share my screen. So this is a little infographic I kind of use to walk you through what the roadmap is like for the new build process here in Wichita, Kansas. The very first thing you want to do is you want to start to explore and learn the financial figures of building a house, what communities, what builders available, and really explore all the options there. We have a tremendous library that we are building on these communities, builders, what's available. And the thing is about new build communities is that there's not a lot of info online about them because they're literally brand new, to where like Google Maps, that you have a hard time GPSing them. There's not really a lot of satellite image on them, and we're doing our best to go gather as much pictures, videos, information on them as they develop in real time to provide you a resource on all that. So we're going to work to continue to build that library. Check out the library we have built already, but the biggest thing I'd say about doing a new build is do your research, and also consult with us. We'll help you with the research ahead of time to have it all in one easy to access place. But the biggest piece you'd want to start looking at is exploring and learning the financial figures for a new build, and what new builds are going for, the different communities and the features they're in, and all the different types of builders and their styles, their floor plans, everything else that goes with that. Because the thing is about new builds is most developments are a closed builder program, and only a certain specified approved builder can build in those areas. So let's say there's like 4 builders in the area. Like let's say you want to live in Edgewater, for example. There's 4 to 5 builders that are approved to build over there. And from there, you can go over there, drive around the neighborhood, get a feel for the neighborhood, what it's like. And as we built out more and more of these community pages for these neighborhoods, you get a better idea online ahead of time. So that way you can save yourself a lot of time from having to run around and do all this research. We did a lot of it for you already to help make a decision. Then from there, if you're like, all right, I want to live in Edgewater, you know, what are the houses going for over there to build over there? What's the about average price per square foot? And then which builders are over there? And then decide like, okay, I want to do a new build. Like I want to build a new house. I want to get the house exactly like I want it. I'm going to do that. And then that's where you engage us as your purchase agent. Because this is a big note on new builds. Is a lot of times people don't realize you can hire me as your purchase agent at no additional cost. The seller, 99% of the time, will pay for my fee as your purchase agent to help you sort through all these decisions, sort through all these factors, walk you through it, explain it to you, give you true representation, which is the big one, to make sure that your needs, your interests are being truly represented, as opposed to if you go straight to the lot agent, straight to the listing agent, that agent's working for the seller and has a direct conflict of interest, you know, legally and transaction wise, because they're working on behalf of the seller and may or may not be working on your behalf. Not to mention those listing agents are busier than ever because they're managing every listing that builder has, and they're overloaded with doing the seller side of the work. They don't really have the time to run around and take into account all your considerations for buying a house and all the many decisions it takes to build a house. So keep that in mind when it comes to engaging me as your purchase agent with everything. You know, at some point I will have to ask you to sign a purchase agent agreement that says, hey, I'm representing you, you're working with me, and I'm officially set up as your formal purchase agent for all that. I have no problem with you reaching out to me and my team ahead of time just to get preliminary info, but eventually there'll be a point where I say, all right, let's make this professional and official, and I'll be your official purchase agent. So once we have that going on, you've done a bunch of your preliminary research and you looked at the different communities. From there, it all starts with a plan. So you take a floor plan that's on, you know, a set of, I call it blueprints, but they're not blue. You know, it's basically just a large architectural drawing of what is the plan of the house that we're going to go with. And then from there, that floor plan also has a model selection that usually goes with it, because there's some floor plans that are the same layout, but then they have a different front elevation and they're different models and different prices, and also taking all that into account of the neighborhood you're building in and those sorts of things. So everything starts with that plan. And that's where my construction background, my construction knowledge really comes in beneficial, not only because I know the product I'm selling very well and helping you with, but at the same time, like I know the sales and marketing side of all this. I know the realtor side of this. It's really a one-stop shop, complete package for everything. So once we pick the floor plan and model selection, then we know the house we're building. Obviously, with all this, I didn't even mention that you got to get pre-approved and get your financial figures figured out as far as your personal finances. And if you got a house to sell in order to buy this one, we can work through that, but that's a whole nother separate video. Go ahead and check that out in our new build training session, or a section for education on more how your new build options work. But once we pick a floor plan and model selection, from there, the builder will price out exact numbers. Because there might be situations where, like, all right, I want the basement finished. What's that going to cost? I want a wet bar in the basement. What's that going to cost? I want granite instead of laminate. What's that going to cost? So there's a lot of pricing considerations, a lot of back and forth in this situation. So new builds are a lot more work than a regular retail transaction. They take a lot longer time. Typical build times are 6 to 8 months, to give you an idea of all this. So keep in mind that this process takes much longer than the 30 to 45 day process of regular retail sales. But once you get a floor plan picked, builder will price out exact numbers. And then from there, you sign what's called a builder contract. And this is different than your regular real estate contract because it's also a construction contract. And the thing is with this is every builder has a different contract. So every situation is different. There really isn't a standard realtor form that all of us use on these, because the builders have their own contract. And that's a whole different environment to navigate and understand and deal with. And each builder is different. That's why I can't stress to you enough the value of your agent, purchase agent, to really fully evaluate, understand that paperwork, help you evaluate, understand it, so you really know what's going on there. Because it's not just real estate we're selling here. It's a construction contract with the contractor that you're dealing with here. And, we deal with these things day in and day out. So once you sign that builder contract, everything's good to go. These typically require a larger earnest money down to get construction started. And that's where you'll start your financing process too. Like any financing process, you have to have a contract first to submit for the loan application. From there, they'll start pulling all your personal underwriting files. They'll do an appraisal per the plan that is to be built on everything. If the builder is carrying the financing for you, then he will start his construction loan and everything. And that's another financing conversation for later. Just trying to give you an overview at this point. Obviously, any further in-depth questions, we can have a personal discussion back and forth on everything. But then once you have your earnest money down, financing started, this is when you start all the selection meetings and you got to start picking everything out. So the first initial product selection meeting, you're going to go over a lot of your exterior things because the way this house is built, which you'll see in a sec, it starts at the outside first and then going inside. So you're going to pick out your roofing, your windows, your doors, your exterior doors, and just while you're at it, you might as well pick out your interior doors, but then also your hardware, your fixtures, any of those exterior things first. So exterior gets done first. As some of these exterior things are done, then the inside gets done. It only makes sense if you think about it. The exterior's got to be protected from the weather and the elements first. So we need to be picking those things first before the basement's dug, the foundation's poured, all those kind of things. That way it's all lined up and nothing's slowing down this construction process. So then from there, as we're picking out all that stuff, there's kind of things going on like at the same time a little bit.
It's 10 o'clock.
But we have the lending and underwriting process after that, where they'll go through and say, hey, the appraisal's good. You got conditional approval, like all your finances are good, everything's turned in, we're good. And you can either close at that point to lock your rate in, or you can wait all the way until construction's done. Just depends on, what the rate is that you want to lock in, how long you want to carry your payment, when you want to start your payments, how much you want the builder to cover financing in the build project. A lot of those different financial dynamics that we can discuss for your personal situation. It's different for everyone. So once that's all done, we're good to go. That's when construction officially starts. The builder's got the green light, says they're financing good, lender's good, appraisal's good, everything's good, builder starts. And from there, this is kind of the construction process. You kind of have two phases. You have the initial rough piece of it all that's very much just how the builder builds them and how he goes about it. It's a lot of the core, nitty gritty things, this stuff that's not the sexy part, but it's the requirement part, and usually takes the longest. Like digging the basement, pouring the foundation, framing and roofing, install windows and exterior doors, siding and deck installation, rough and electrical, HVAC, plumbing. From there, your house is pretty much in the rough phase of being built. And the thing that's taking the longest right now is this pouring foundation piece. It's hard to find foundation contractors get going. But once that foundation is in and we get framing going, that's when it starts to go really fast. But it's getting to that point because we have a lack of foundation companies, lack of contractors willing to do that, is why that piece takes so long. And we're just kind of at the mercy of needing the skilled construction laborers for foundations. And partly that's why, and partly the reason for that is because those foundation forms cost so dang much. Like a wood set of forms is like 80 grand, and the aluminum set of forms is like 200 grand. So it's very difficult to find a company that has, the necessary equipment to do the work. And that's why it takes so long to get the basement done, foundation poured and all that. But once that's done, it's pretty much off to the races from there, where you could get a house done in like 2 months after that. But you might be waiting 2 months for your foundation to get poured. So that's kind of the timeline of everything. So as all the rough construction's getting done, you want to finish all of your selection meetings. So that's a lot of your finishes. So like your, as you can see, like in the next stage, like a lot of the stuff you want to have, you need to have pre-picked out ahead of time. So that's why we're picking out like all your rough product selection ahead of time. And then before the finish phase even starts, we get your finish selection meetings done. And if you look at the finished phase, it kind of gives you an idea of everything you need to pick out ahead of time. So insulate and sheetrock, carpentry, cabinets, doors and trim, countertops and tile, paint, flooring, touch-ups, well, sprinkler shot, landscape, and appliances. So all those things need to be pre-decided well ahead of time, well thought out and everything. Once it's all done, they'll do an appraisal reassessment, say, hey, all this checks out, we're good. You'll do a final walkthrough, make sure it's in the shape that you want it. And then closing day, the most exciting day in the world, is when you actually get to sign the deed for the paperwork, get to the keys of the house, everything is yours at that point and all that. So you can see how with the new build process, it's a little more extensive than just your regular retail situation. 6 to 8 months is a good time frame depending on the house and the model and everything going on with the total global situation about this dynamic. But hopefully this has helped you get a better idea of the overview of the new build process, and keep checking out the rest of our videos to get more details, more specifics. And as always, go ahead and reach out to me if you have any questions. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it. And we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. See you guys.